Boxingego here. If you like this video, make sure you hit the like button and also subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon on the top of your screen to get notified when the latest new content drops. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also subscribe to the channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. If you want to become part of the gang notification gang, please hit the bell icon. Shout out to the Super Chats channel donations, the Venmo donations, and the Patreon family. We are working. Now, I'm getting ready to watch the main event, Danny Swift Garcia versus Brandon Bam Bam Rios. So I'm going to do a quick co-main event post-fight breakdown with David Benavidez, Ronald Gavril, part 2. And shout out to Showtime. Thank you, Al Heyman, and shout out to PBC. Getting it done, man. Some good fights. It was a loaded Saturday full of fights. Congrats to David Benavidez. He went out there and did what he was supposed to. He's the super middleweight WBC champion. The first fight with Gavril, I watched that fight also when it came on, and it was kind of controversial. Some people thought it could have went either way. Ron Gavril thought he won. David Benavidez thought he won. They were fighting for a belt, so it was a lot on the line. So what I like to see from the young Benavidez is in the rematch, he came correct and he showed separation. He says, I think he got sick in the first fight or something, and now all is forgiven because he showed that separation in the second fight. I thought he looked extremely good as a super middleweight champion. Very crisp jab, very crispy jab. He was dictating the pace. He hurt Gavril, which is something I don't remember. I gotta watch it again. I don't really remember him hurting Gavril much in the first fight, and if he did, it wasn't like this. These were more pronounced and emphasized when he hurt Gavril in this particular fight, right? My favorite round was probably rounds 8 and 9. I think Benavidez was landing some hellacious body shots. Very dedicated. He looks like he has some good size for the division, some good height. He's very creative with his punch variation. Kind of like there's a lot of Mexican fighters, and I'm not trying to stereotype, and this is not a bad stereotype, but a lot of Mexican fighters that come to mind, they get very creative with their punch variation, what punches they throw and mixing up. Canelo is one of my favorite at doing this. Like, you watch Canelo versus Alfredo El Perro Angulo, and then you'll see how many different punches he was throwing, how he'll shoot an uppercut. And I've seen that from Benavidez. You've seen some athleticism in there, some good hand speed, things like that. And he's mixing it up. Stiff jab, shooting the uppercut. Sometimes I think he doubled the uppercut, sending his hooks, went upstairs, downstairs. You know what I mean? He just couldn't get Gavril out of there. And that's no knock on him, because Gavril is tough as nails. I mean, there was a couple of times, some people thought rounds 8 or 9, it could have been stopped. I wouldn't have, me personally, if I was like refereeing the fight or his corner, I wouldn't do him like that. You know what I mean? It's a title shot. You don't know when you're going to get your next title shot. The first fight was extremely close with the 12th round knockdown that Gavril got. He knocked Benavidez down. So I wouldn't have, even though he was clearly losing, I personally wouldn't have stripped that man of his opportunity to finish the fight traditionally, because he didn't get stopped. You know what I mean? And he showed a lot of heart actually in the final round. You know what I mean? But other than that, you couldn't really give Ron Gavril many rounds. His approach was one-dimensional. This fight kind of reminded me of an earlier super middleweight fight that came on today, and that was George Groves versus Chris Eubank Jr., where it was entertaining enough because the guy was showing mad heart, tremendous amount of heart, still trying, bleeding, cut, and still trying to put something together and put some punches together. And those people were Ron Gavril and Chris Eubank. But it was very easy to score and clear to see who was winning the fight. Only difference is I thought Benavidez was more impressive. George Groves, I mean, I'm not taking anything away from him, but offensively, Benavidez impressed me more with the punches he was putting together. He was like really right. I mean, I was wondering how Gavril was even standing after some of those shots. So very good, decisive, clean victory. Now he could lay that to rest. It's just like the saga, the Floyd Mayweather versus Maidana, Floyd versus Castillo, you know what I mean? One of those type of fights, Ward versus Kovalev, where we have some controversy and then they get to set the record straight, show some separation. That's exactly what David Benavidez did. And I've told you guys a lot on the channel. If you guys listen to some of the old videos, I watched David Benavidez. He was on the card Victor Ortiz versus Andre Berto 2. I covered that card at the StubHub Center in Carson, California. Covered it as media, and he was on that undercard, and he had a knockout on that. And I was like, man, this dude, I noticed him even before that, but that was my first time getting to cover one of his fights live. I'm like, this dude is talented, very special. I like what he's doing. And I even said, not to disrespect his family, but I even said David Benavidez to me was the more talented of the two in terms of Jose Benavidez and David Benavidez. Like, I thought Jose Benavidez lost to Mauricio Herrera in a good fight, but David Benavidez is definitely a talent. He wasn't horrible defensively. He could work on a couple things, but very composed. And one of the things that's impressive is his age. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't really necessarily look like he's 21. I mean, you wouldn't, if you've seen him, you wouldn't really know he's 21 versus 24 or something like that. But just being that young and being the youngest world champion and having that level of composure and showing that separation, very impressive. And then the fact that we know he sparred with top guys like Gennady Golovkin at that young age, that goes to show you that even with, I think they said on the telecast, he had 10 amateur fights or something like that. He has something natural about him. So very strong performance. Ron Gavril, he has to go back to the drawing board. He just kept coming forward, didn't really make the adjustments necessary. But he's definitely tough and he definitely showed heart, and he didn't come to lay down. It just wasn't his night. And it's kind of funny, one of the ways I knew that Ron Gavril was tough is before they did the post-fight interviews, before the fight and the scorecards were announced, I noted that David Benavidez looked like he slowed down the last couple of rounds and he wasn't throwing punches with the same conviction. So I suggested on my tweets, if you guys follow my live round by round tweets, that Benavidez hurt his hand because he was punching. Probably some fighters have thick ass skulls, you know what I mean, and they're putting a lot of pressure and they're coming forward all the time, you know what I mean, so you hurt your hand throwing that many punches. And I thought that's what would happen, and then they revealed it post fight. That's exactly what happened. He showed his knuckle, I think on his right hand, looked swollen really bad, and then his left hand, you seen the skin was all chewed up on his knuckle from throwing all those shots at a non-stop, relentless, tough, rugged Ron Gavril. And I even compared it in the tweet to when Adrian Broner hurt his hand fighting Adrian Granados, or when Sean Porter fought Adrian Granados, he too hurt his hand. Let me know what you guys think. Very impressed with David Benavidez. I'm happy because if you guys think about it, we had 3 different super middleweight fights with notable names. Caleb Plant beat Porky Medina. I thought he did good. That was his step up. Then you had David Benavidez avenging the controversial first fight against Gavril, and then you had Chris Eubank versus George Groves, and George Grove won, but he got injured, so they're saying they don't know if he's going to be in the finals of the World Boxing Super Series. But either way, I would love to see these guys mix them up. One of the big future fights that could be made that I would love to see is David Benavidez versus Gilberto Zurdo Ramirez. I mean, that would be a crazy fight. 2 Mexican-American. I mean, going at it, they're both pretty big for the division. Both have some power. They both like to throw a lot of punches. That's a crazy fight. That could be the fight that they really build up. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of different options at super middleweight, and I like to see that it's alive and well at 168. It's lit. Let me know your thoughts. Drop it in the comment section. Make sure you smash the like button. As always, hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego signing off. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxingego, the future of boxing.